Hi, I'm Mike Levin, and when last we left off, we were outputting the output from function 1. And the output of that is ni. As you can see, if we escape and hit Shift-G to jump to the bottom, function 1 returns ni. And I'm going to get rid of the Monty Python references, as fun as they are. Function 1 returns no arguments here. And function 2 returns my arguments, or I'll say my params are with a colon, just if in case we see it, we know we got up to we hit function 2, which requires parameters. So we just run that. It's going to be almost the same thing, but instead of ni, you'll see no arguments here. As expected, 2 for the Google spreadsheet and 3 for the CSV that's sitting on the hard drive. And so now, this is going to be a great example of where I'm actually capturing exploratory stuff here. There's so few videos where people are actually learning while they program because people want to put out a polished, finished product. The value, though, I think in learning is seeing mistakes just as much as the real thing, because real learning occurs when you make mistakes and you back up and you try something else and you come away with it with something more significant than this one smooth trail of following a well-worn path. Sure, you can get results quick, but that's the shortcut. And in the end, that makes all the difference. So we're doing an eval in here. Whenever we do a row, this is it. It's this print eval fname, which, as you recall from the last time, we're printing not just the eval of function name, which turns the function name into a function object, but we are invoking the function by using an open-close parenthesis. That's actually quite important. And the complexity here is going to grow so quickly that this is a really prime example of where you break things out into a function. Now there's also this concept of dofuncs here. Dofuncs is the row 1 discovering of functions. And dofuncs doesn't work for me anymore because it implies the execution of the function and returning the output. So I am going to replace dofuncs with, I don't know, discover funcs, row 1 funcs. Yeah, let's forever remind ourselves that this is what happens on row 1. It's one of those conventions of the system, and we have to keep reminding ourselves of those conventions. So wherever we find dofuncs, we will replace it with row 1 funcs. And we'll do a GC just so that we can double check our work. Yes, yes. It's just those 2 spots. And we could run it again and test it, but that kind of rename is always going to work. Except we're using a number in a function name for the first time, so why not pipe that through the interpreter just to make sure. Yep. So the next thing is we really do want a dofuncs, but dofuncs now is going to get confused in my head because it had been used for that other thing. What we're going to do is execute or eval funcs. So let's just do the literal def eval func. It's going to be singular. Well, it gets fed a row, so it's plural. Eval the funcs on the row. And it's going to be fed as input parameter the fname. Oh, actually, it's dofunc. It's singular because by this time it's stepping through each member of the row that doRow received. So it gets the function name. It's going to get an entire row. And it needs to know what column it's up to, and we do in fact have a coldex. So coldex, let's consider our order that we're returning them. Yeah, I think coldex and fname sort of go together. They're sort of bound together. You could in fact infer one from the other. You could even feed the coldex and not have the func name, but we already have it. We did the lookup of the func name from above. Well, you know, it's actually a lot cleaner if you just feed the coldex and the row. So where you're at in the row and the row you're processing. That's actually quite clean. Now the fname, again, this is where the advantage of these global functions or these global objects are. They don't really need to be passed around so much. They're always just sitting there. So we get our fname, our function name, just by plugging our coldex into globs.func. So now we have our function name. And instead of doing the eval here, we actually want to print the output from eval func, and it needs to be passed coldex and a row. And we can print the, oh no, we actually return. The responsibility for printing is where it's being called. So I am going to return fname. So we should just see func1 come back wherever we saw no arguments here. Let's take a look. Okay, invalid syntax. That's acceptable because I believe in Python 3, return has become a function and needs parentheses, just like the print statement. Am I correct? I am name return. Oh, return. Well, there you go. This is one of those places where things like, you know, Visual Studio or Xcode might actually be a little bit better, but, you know, I'm just ignoring there. It did color code, or it failed to color code. There, func1's where the no arguments here was. Now, just for the sake of knowing, I am going to delete the parentheses because I want to know whether return did in fact undergo the same change as the print statement going to Python 3. Nope. Okay, so parentheses not needed around returns, although as you saw, it would work with it as well. And I say don't use parentheses unless you need them. It just makes the code cleaner. It doesn't look like a function when it doesn't have to look like a function. Okay, so that's probably a good place to cut the video because what did I demonstrate? Well, I demonstrated returning a value from a function that you call, and the print is actually here. But let me think. Let's get those arguments, fargs equals globs.args fargs. And that takes coldex as well, if I remember correctly. And so this will now return fname column, comma, fargs, or yeah, fargs. Now I'm jumping ahead a little bit because when you just put a comma between things, it doesn't look like other programming languages, but what this really is a tuple. And tuples are a lot like lists, but they're immutable. And that means they can't be changed, and it means you can do all this great stuff with commas between things so long it's symmetrical on both ends. And print will print it. So let's see how that looks. There you go. You're seeing the arguments of each function. And of course it's func1 all the time. And this is where I think I'll cut the video because this will be very enlightening. This print eval can just as well go here because we're not doing the eval, the actual eval yet. So now instead of just the stuff from no arguments here, you're going to see my params are. And this will make a lot of sense and it'll be a good place to cut the video. Dun, dun, dun. Yay! All right, thanks for joining me, and we'll try and get the eval statement in on the next one. There might be a little rebuilding of the signature or rediscovering of the signature. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to build the function name input parameters, but tune in next time and find out. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.